Hello my friends, I'm out here in our back patio area just to show you that the amount of space that you need for our practice isn't much at all. Also, I'm wearing shorts, so as we go through the movements you can see my knees bend in those areas and the baggy pants that I usually have on. So if we haven't met yet, I'm Jacob Glassmeyer, also known as Your Tai Chi Guy, and that's how you can find me on any of my social media platforms. In fact, you can just put in a Google search, Your Tai Chi Guy, one word, and everything pops up. So we've been covering now, in this next month, some different movements in Qigong. Pierce the cloud and descend the mountain. And then our movements in Tai Chi are going to be those that we haven't done that are in the beginner form called the 10 form or the beginner 8 form. And so the movements that we'll be doing are gather your hands to your heart, repulse the monkey, brush knee, and lotus kick. So those are the ones that we primarily work on in class. And so this is going to be a quick little review, maybe one to three times on each movement. Okay, so let us begin, shall we? So we're just going to keep our feet together. Now the reason we bring our heels and toes together, right, and arms dress beside you, dress and rest. And so this is the beginning position for all classical movements of Tai Chi, which is called Wuji. And in this position, I want you to take your mind somewhere, like maybe go by a pool at a resort somewhere, or just a place that brings you happiness. With that, we lift the spine, the crown of the head pulls up through the clouds. Your shoulders relax, your belly breathes, and let it rescend. So when we do our belly breathing, and this is so for our ribs all the way around the body, right? And for the abdominals to extend. So let me pull my shirt taut here. So we breathe in and let go. And this is the breath work that we do while we're practicing in these two forms. So let's begin with pierce the cloud. So piercing the cloud, our feet are going to start about shoulder width apart or hip width apart. We bring our hands in gently, like we're holding a ball. Now, floating in and floating out is how I begin this movement. And so we sink down and we rise up. Now this movement actually derives from Sun style Tai Chi, which is one of the families of Tai Chi. And I use this in the beginning of our Pierce the Cloud because the movement itself is very similar. So let's try this. Hands float in, we step in, and then as we step out, now let's talk about this stepping out for a minute. The knee hinges, the feet are the width of your shoulders, and then we extend the fingertips towards each other, rotate the thumbs down, and I change my angle. So as we open, we bend the elbows, and we float right back down to like we're catching the ball, right? Like we're clapping the hands. So we breathe in, we exhale, extend, open, breath in, exhale, extend. Now this movement comes into use in Tai Chi because as we go through our bow stance, we're going to rock back, lifting the toe, see the bend to the knee and the greater bend to the knee, right? And so then we exhale and go forward. So the extension of the fingers in when the toe rests, when the breath finishes, and then inhale, and then exhale. Okay, so we do that about 8 times on each side. Now, on to descending the mountain. Descend the mountain, we come to a horse stance, so we come out wide. And as we descend the mountain, our tailbone drops down a little bit more each time. Our first beginning movement, I hold my palms here and do the movement that we're going to do down there, but the hands do this, right? We go here, we open, then the palms turn, notice, see you, and then back out. So we mix the chi, we're down here. We breathe in to breathe out, so out, fingers to you. Breathe in to breathe out. Then we pull the energy up through the center of the body. The palms turn to face away. They gently rotate through the waist, use the heart, come to the side. The hands go above the head. We use the waist to float our arms across the sky. at the top of the mountain. Then they extend to the other side, float across a little lower each time. I'm going to move fast here so we can get the video done. And then notice how my knees hinge, right? Then when I get to the bottom of the mountain, we'll call this the valley, we come back into mix the chi again, and we pull back up. So those movements are done on both sides 3 to 4 times each side. And in your mind, I invite you to think about descending the actual mountain. And then as we finish with the last mixing of the chi, we bring this one up and overhead with a breath in, and just dump a bucket load of positive chi right on top of you. And where does that send your mind? As the arms descend, we bring the feet into whatever's comfortable for you, and then we cultivate the chi. Hands float in and down. And that is the conclusion of our 2 movements that we do at the beginning of all the classes for this month in October. On to our movements of Tai Chi. So we bring our feet together, so we can open the door. Open the door is always the same in every aspect. But first, all of our tenets of Tai Chi in standing position, and then we go into those in standing with movement. So the crown of the head's pulled to the sky. Shoulders and elbows feel heavy, pulled to the earth. The abdominals and the ribs extend with breath in and exhale. The pelvis is relaxed. A gentle tucking of the tailbone so we can feel that our pelvis becomes level, releases the tension in the lumbar spine, back here, yes. The knees always stay bent to some degree, always bent to some degree, and we feel the weight to the sole of the foot, so we're rooted it evenly to each leg. And so then we breathe in to step out. It's the width of your shoulders or slightly wider, and then knees are bent. Right now we make the wave like we always do. Opening the door, that's the first movement. And here we go. We're going to rotate the thumbs out and away, and then gather the hands to the heart, sinking down. Now in the actual classic pattern, just one time, but practice is everything, right family? So we exhale, we inhale. Now as you begin to practice more, you can extend your elbows out a little bit further, but notice they are still bent. But in the beginning, I ask you to be here so you can really work on elbows staying bent. We sink down. And then on the next one, whenever that is in class, we pause here. So one hand stays here to a single prayer position. The other hand, leaded by the dantian, this is part of our tenet, that the waist is the governor of movement. So no matter which direction I go, my waist is the guide. And so the hand floats down, it comes out, comes back in, floats down, floats out, comes back in. And we do that a few times each side. No particular number because this is not the entirety of the movement. And now the other hand reaches out. Notice the elbow is still bent, right? Elbow is still bent. We sink down. There's my bend to the knees. I rise up, I sink down. I rise up, I sink down. Now we mix those 2 movements together to repulse the monkey into fruition. So reach one out, one to the side, breath in, come together. Now right here, we push the monkey away. So if I turn sideways, you can see that the palm is up, yes? The other palm is here. So this sits the monkey, if you will, okay? Pushing away. So we open, push away, open, push away. This one requires a lot of practice. And we notice as we rotate, some practitioners will just reach out to the side. Now I do this if we are sitting in a chair. Standing, let the rotation of your spine be both directions. Because in other classic patterns like the 24 and the 64, we do this movement walking backwards or walking backwards. I'm not going to step further, it's raining out here today. So we would go from here just to give you an idea of what this movement would be like. We stay with our feet in place. That was a little side note, a little quick journey here. And so then after we finish repulsing the monkey, the arm that reaches out is going to stay there. This one's coming through. We turn, and one arm comes under the chin, the other one scoops down. Here's our full moon. Remember the stance we took, the bow stance from Pierce the Cloud? Here we go. We bring it out. Instead of straight, we bring it out, and we're gonna rock 3 times. Okay? And then this bottom hand, I'm gonna change my angle. This bottom hand then sweeps across, and the top hand pushes forward. So this is our brush knee. Now the other one of those other tenets in Tai Chi is the body works as one whole unit. It's not that I come back and then I come in and then I turn and segment things out. So the whole body just stays fluid. In the beginning, if you want to move a little bit faster for your own personal private practice, please do so. Anything that continues to keep your interest into the movement, and then we can gear it back a little bit, right? Go from, what was that, 3rd gear down to 1st with a little bit of the parking brake on. And so here we go. We come in and exhale. If I turn side view, you can see that the top elbow, right, is bent. The wrist is even with the collarbone, the fingers are above, so this is fine. Then the hand comes across, and the hand doesn't go down, so the elbow stays bent, and it's even again with the waistline. And so you can do these different techniques while you're practicing. Where's my waistline? There's my belt line. Good, now I bring the hand out. And as my wrist at my collarbone, I can bring it in, and then say, okay, there it is, and then we come back out. And then we come back in. As you'll find your own particular different cues that help you best to bring these movements into more fluid transition. So next is Lotus Kick. So let's start with the foot, we'll get this right, foot position first. So we're going to always step in. We always come to a T-step. Now let's just try this. Let the heel touch, bring it back in. Shift the weight over, knees are bent, yes they are. Heel comes in, tap the heel. Come back in. Now this time, if you need to stay with the heel touching the floor, please do so. But now we have to do the kick, and the kick is a foot off the floor, right? So here's some balance. So your foot can be just a hair off the floor, or you can bring it in and take it higher, wherever your mobility is, right? Just what I say in class. So we breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Now for the hands. The hands open away from the body, like we're going to pick something up, and we are. The chi, the vital life force. And so we scoop up, and we come right to here. Forearms over, it doesn't matter which one. I'm going to do this just on purpose. And so when we scoop, watch what's happening back here. Okay? So we hinge down. This is about as far as we need to go. Feel that the pelvis is released, that you're not hinging the hip out, tucked under. Okay? And then we come up, and there's the palm. So when we open up, we open with the hands away from the body, not open here. That's opening the big fan. We keep the hands forward. And so when the hands open, that's when we have the kick. So here we go. We breathe in. Everything's in, right? Exhale. Everything's out. We come back down. I'm going to shift so I can be a little more into camera. Breath in. Breath out. And so the elbows, right? Elbows are bent. Palms are facing out so they can melt back down. Inhale. Exhale. Back down. Wonderful. Do we have anything left? No, I believe that is it. So in the pattern itself, and if you go onto my YouTube channel, you'll see on the Yan Style in playlist, there's 6 videos. The last video is what we are ultimately learning to bring into fruition. So after the Lotus Kick becomes repulsing, no, not repulsing the monkey. After Lotus Kick comes grasping the sparrow's tail, and the crane spreads its wings. And so then that would conclude the pattern. Now this pattern traditionally is done in a backwards walking position, movement, stance, however you want to call it. But in class, since some of us have limited space, and we want to make sure we can make the most of all the space that we have, so we can have that one life, one body, and make the most of both, and keep everything in a very fluid transition. So in that aspect, that's why we go from here, right? We open up, and then we'll step in to step out, and there's our hinge. And when we step out, please make sure this is for your private practice, right? So as you step out, look down. And if you didn't step out wide enough, so if I shifted this position here, right, now you can see the feet are wide. But if you come into here and you step straight out, and now you're in a straight line. Look, see, straight line. So this is no good. It's a bow stance, so we come out, and then we hinge. And this hinging is whatever your body has, but notice that the fluid transition to the front and to the back. We're rooting into the back, and we press the heel into the back. That's why the heel doesn't come up. Hinge the front. So we can either brush the knee, part the horse's wild mane, grasp the sparrow's tail, right? All of these. And so this helps you with your practice. So work on your bow stance. Practice, practice, practice. Those are the quintessential words you can say that comes from my Shifu. And I am so happy to be your Shifu. And so with that, I wish you well. So again, thank you for being a part of my life. Thank you for taking an interest in this passion of mine that I hope becomes a passion of yours. And share this video, please. I'm Jacob Glassmeyer, your Tai Chi guide. And remember, you got one life, one body. Make the most of both. Be well.